Okay, you go through this door, you're fucking fired.
Okay, we'll do it for the kid.
Set aside for me.
Oh, okay.
This
It'll
is
be
gonna
okay,
be bad.
kid. Where are
No.
you? Yeah.
No, not spirit science, please, not anything. Anything but that. No, just no.
Oh, what's that? Oh, sorry. It's dark. Shit.
Wonder if I can sneak out of here.
Dun dun dun!
Oh, am I supposed to dance? I'm not good at
Oh, cool.
this. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh no, he's
There
gonna
was
talk.
a time, long ago, when humans existed at a very high level of consciousness.
Who, me?
What are
We
you
were
saying?
interdimensional.
Unlike
they were
you.
We
high,
communicated
man.
through thought and emotion, much like how animals do, rather than speaking
Telepathy,
or writing,
really?
which would seem very primitive.
Whoa.
We lived primarily on a large string of islands called
Get me out of here.
but there was a consciousness
Ooh,
shift.
what?
We moved up in consciousness, and the islands of Lumeria sank
That's
beneath the
stupid.
oceans.
Well,
At the
wouldn't
time
they
of
like
this
move
shift,
with
a
us,
new
man?
continent rose out of the waters. We called it Atlantis.
Get me
Back
out
in
of
the
here.
early 1900s, the
Dude.
spiritual path
Not
of the United
Pangea.
States,
There's gonna be a
similar to
vent or an
today.
escape
People
hatch
began to learn
somewhere.
about
No,
meditation
man, these
and
are like
study
Lost
ancient
Islands
lands
and
like
shit, man.
Atlantis and Lemuria.
James Churchward, and his theories about a lost continent in the Pacific Ocean that he named Mu. James was an ardent creationist, and no one should be surprised if his findings further promoted that agenda.
We actually found quite a bit of evidence that Lemuria existed.
These points are mute as evidence for man's development in Africa have been discovered since James first published his books in the mid-1920s. So what does science say about where humans originated? The maps are representations of the migrations of human beings over tens of thousands of years from the study of the human genome. The out-of-Africa theory, bolstered by this genetic evidence, appears to me to be more credible. In a few words, what did James postulate as the location of the birthplace of humanity? First, James tells us on the first page of his 1927 book, Lost Continent of Mu, Motherland of Man. The Garden of Eden was not in Asia, but on a now sunken continent in the Pacific Ocean.
And it had to
Because
be
they weren't focusing on
See,
We found
survival.
evidence it didn't exist, you idiot! Oh my gosh! This is to explain
dude.
fossils, you
Like,
moron!
found
water.
evidence,
In
and
1910,
then, like,
the surface of the ocean
we
was
learned about
probably higher
continental
because they were
drift
able to
and,
see
like,
coral rings
things
heading
like
away
that.
from Easter Islands for a great
What are you
distance.
talking about?
Dude.
These
He's
rings
just
were
saying
estimated
stupid
to be
shit!
found at 1,800 feet, which means that
Don't
if the
listen to
rings
him.
existed, they would have
He's gonna
taken
break your brain!
and
No,
sunk
no,
slowly.
no!
Probably more important, they also found the exact same fauna and flora from the Hawaiian Islands all the way to the Easter Islands. This is a great distance, but if you look at a map, you'll see a long string. That string, according to Thoth, used to run along the western shores of Lemuria. It is only
does
on these
that mean,
islands
like,
that have the
that
same
makes you see,
flora
like,
and
a big
fauna.
ball of yarn
Same
or
trees,
something?
bugs, bacteria,
What?
everything. Science can only explain this if there were closer land bridges between these islands at one point. Although we were
Yeah,
studying
dude,
this at
Ocean
that
Earth
time,
totally
World War I
explains it.
began soon after, and we lost interest in spirituality and the ancient lands for a very long time. After the
Oh yeah,
sinking of
because winning
Lemuria
2
and
fucking
the
world
rising
wars
of
isn't as
Atlantis,
important as your
at
stupid
first the
spiritual
human
mumbo
race
jumbo
became
looking for
scattered.
lost fucking
We moved
islands.
to various
You
islands
stupid
and
fucking
continents
asshat.
all
Holy
over the
shit!
world because we didn't have a home yet. We didn't know where to go. At that time, there were about 1,000 humans at a very high consciousness, more than all of the rest. They were called the Nicals. Today, we know
Is
them
that
as
like
the
a
Ascended
magazine?
Masters. The Nicals began preparing
Oh,
Atlantis
Proposed
to be
alternate
our
origin
new
of
home.
humanity
They
wasn't
projected their
Lemuria or
image
Atlantis, you
of
retard.
the
It was
continent
Moo,
in the form
Moo,
of the
Moo.
tree
Can you
of
say
life.
Moo, motherfucker? Holy shit! You're fucking
An
stupid.
extra on top on the island
Hey,
of
dude, you're
Biyal,
missing one.
and an extra on the bottom in the water. There were 10 components on the mainland, and even though
Can we get some help here?
Yeah, man, call the boss. He knows this shit.
Bad.
Drama llama ding dong. Hey, boss. Hey, Drama Llama, what do you want this time? We got an image of, the Tree of Life according to spirit science. Want to tell me what's wrong with it?
Oh, I suppose. So, spirit science and the Tree of Life. Well, part of the problem is he uses the New Age version, which kind of disregards its origins. This comes from Kabbalistic, Judaic traditions. And in its classic iteration, granted, the New Agers like adding a whole bunch of additional lines that just don't fucking belong, but there aren't really supposed to be connections leading from the 7th or 8th down to the 10th. It just doesn't go that way. It's kind of a linear progression you're supposed to go through this to try to get to that 10th position. But that's kind of secondary to what he's doing here, because number 1 is regarded as completely spiritual, the Godhead, etc. These are all considered emanations of God anyway. But 1 is supposed to be completely the spiritual realm, and 10 completely the physical realm. Then you have the positions in between that represent very different things. If you go to position 2, that's wisdom. 3 is understanding, and then you keep moving down until you eventually get to the bottom. Now, in his iteration of this, in terms of this whole thing with the Jews and the Martians, the thing I'm curious about is which one of the two is supposed to represent wisdom and which one's splendor, because the positions that he has read out as being ones that weren't filled were positions 2 and 8. But anyway, around, it doesn't really matter because he lacks knowledge. And when I say he lacks knowledge, I mean it literally, because if you look at the center of this, there's actually a position up by the top there that's called Dat, or Dot, D-A-A-T. But that position represents knowledge. So while his version of the Tree of Life has understanding and wisdom, without the knowledge, both of those are kind of pointless. So clearly he doesn't know anything about Dat, and he simply lacks the knowledge. I could go into detail, but I think that's good enough for now. I'll catch you later, Drama Llama.
Yeah.
Thank you. The boss always been that boring and long-winded.
Though it extended over hundreds of miles on the surface, it was projected to the accuracy of a single atom.
Whoa,
We chose to move
dude.
to Atlantis because of the Kundalini.
what?
In humans, the Kundalini is
What?
often referred to
Ah,
as the
snake!
energy
That guy has a
source
snake
that
on
runs
him!
up and down
Get
your
it
spine.
off!
When activated, it provides an
can't
immense
reach
amount
it.
of energy through all of the chakras. The Earth itself also has a Kundalini because the Earth is alive. Like an organism,
dude.
running from the center of the planet to a specific place
Dude.
on the surface.
Earth is
Wherever the Kundalini
alive.
resides,
Oh,
the
dude.
people there become the spiritual leaders of the world. The Earth chose Atlantis to be the new energetic center of the planet. After Atlantis, the
Earth
Kundalini moved to the mountains of
chose.
Tibet, which is why the Buddhists were the leaders in pure spirituality for the last 13,000 years.
500 years before Christ, a young prince set out on a journey. He was the Buddha.
It
When
was
was
a
the
very
last
pure
time
place.
you talked to
It
a
moved again
Buddhist?
within the last 10 years, but that's a story for another time.
Oh man, that
Suddenly,
matters.
in a single day, the
Now,
Nikal
he's a
breathed life
dick.
into the Tree of Life on the surface of
Right.
Atlantis. This created vortexes of energy rotating out of each and every circle.
Whoa.
Once the vortexes were established, the children of Lemuria began to be called forth. Millions
Whoa,
upon
too
millions
much
of Lemurians
vortex,
who had
man.
settled all across the planet began to be pulled toward Atlantis. A great
And they all
migration began.
drowned.
However, the
Die.
Lemurian body of consciousness had only reached the age of 12 as a planetary consciousness. Because we were right-brained, we were a female species, like a 12-year-old girl. And some of our centers weren't
What?
working yet. They had worked with these
What?
energy.
What a girl! Huh? What's with the girl?
What's with those two
Why,
spots? man?
why does it have to be a girl? Because she's weak? Because she's cute? Yeah, she's gonna kick your ass,
Dude, he's missing something up there.
prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But only mastered 8 of the 10. Each migrating Lemurian was attracted to one of these 8 centers on Atlantis.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Depending on the nature of the individual. There, they settled and began to build cities. That left 2 vortexes with nobody using them, not a
Great
single
story,
person.
bro, but I
These
need
2
another
vortexes
fix.
were pulling life toward them, and in life, you can't have an empty place. Life will find a way to fill it.
If you came to the bedroom with a grapefruit, what is your man gonna say?
Get the
What are you
fuck
gonna
out
do
of
with
here,
that?
bitch!
Is it gonna burn? and
It
all
is
that other
over!
thing? So you don't.
What?
Similar to if you were driving along a freeway, following another car, and you drop too far behind, someone will fill the place. That's exactly what happened on Atlantis.
Oh, dude, I ain't that
Though
hot.
the
That only
Lemurians
works
had
in rush
only
hour.
8 of the vortex areas, Mayan records state clearly that there were 10
Now
cities
you're
in
bringing the
Atlantis.
What?
Mayans
You
into
can see
it?
these records in the Toronto document, which is now located in the British Museum.
Sorry, did he just say in the British Museum? The Toronto document, also known as the Madrid Codex, is located in Madrid.
This document is estimated to be 3,500 years
No,
old, and it
1500s,
describes
dude.
in detail the sinking of Atlantis.
No, it doesn't.
To fill these 2
It
empty
does.
vortexes, according to Thoth,
Nope.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't have aliens or Atlantis or any of the kind of stuff that Spirit Shit's talking about. But it's still kind of cool. I mean, think about it for a minute. Included in the Codex is a description of their New Year ceremonies.
2 extraterrestrial races stepped in. Not one,
What?
but 2 completely different races.
Oh, dude, this is
First
it.
race
Alien.
were the Hebrews, coming
Yeah.
from our future. Thoth says that they came from off-planet, but we don't know where.
Wait a second. I thought you guys were like pranking me. He is really talking about time traveling space Hebrews?
Yeah,
This
kid.
is a thing?
See! Jews in space!
Yeah, dude's fucked up, man. He's so high.
Jews out in space. zooming along, protecting the Hebrew race.
Dude.
Exactly. The Hebrews were kind of like a kid who went through 5th grade and didn't make it, so they had to do that grade over again. They learned all the math, the left brain stuff,
totally racist,
but they didn't get the right brain aspect of evolving consciousness, the doing. They didn't graduate to the next level of evolution, so they had to do it again.
Failed
Oh,
at
dude.
A lot of things that
Evolution has like level ups and shit.
concepts and
Whoa.
ideas
You fail at life.
Yeah, no
Now,
shit.
if this is true, this would explain quite a few things about the Hebrew people in general.
Why do you keep fucking up other people's
Many
religions?
sacred geometries
Why can't you just
hidden
fuck up
within
your
their
own?
culture. It also puts perspective
When
on
was
the
the
story of
last time
Exodus.
he even
Perhaps
talked
Moses
to a
incarnated
Jew?
into that lifetime to free the Hebrews because they were not direct descendants of humans and were being treated unfairly.
Whoa!
Or could it be that Moses was
Wait, they're not human?
because they were not direct descendants of humans?
Yeah, what the fuck, man? I heard.
They're the chosen ones because they're aliens?
Time traveling ones too, man. Yeah. He's fucked up.
Oh my
This
gosh.
can't be real.
Dude,
Dude, give me some. I want some of that shit you're on.
What is he on?
Visited by an ascended master of
If
the
I know,
Hebrews
it'll
who
get you
guided
some,
him to
man.
free their people. Given what we know about dimensions and consciousness, it definitely puts a fresh perspective on old stories that didn't make much sense. We could talk about this more,
Like
but let's continue
your
for now.
face.
There were no problems caused by the Hebrews coming to Atlantis. They actually benefited our evolution.
What?
The other race that stepped in caused big problems. These beings came from the nearby planet of Mars.
Whoa!
According to
And
Thoth,
now we have
Mars was
Martians.
very much like Earth, a little less than 1 million years ago.
What happened to Mars? Billions of years ago, Mars was a very different world. Liquid water flowed in long rivers that emptied into lakes and shallow seas. A thick atmosphere blanketed the planet and kept it warm. In this cozy environment, living microbes might have found a home, starting Mars down the path toward becoming a second life-filled planet next door to our own. But that's not how things turned out.
It was beautiful. It had oceans and water and trees that were just fantastic.
Whoa, dude, how do you know
It's
this shit, man?
And it has to do with something called the Lucifer experiment.
The what?
From the very beginning of creation,
Oh,
everything is simply an experiment.
hail
Creation itself was just
Satan.
consciousness creating and inhabiting itself in that creation. There is no
Inhabiting
divine
itself,
plan.
what?
Spirit can do whatever it wants.
Whatever, I do what I want.
Oh,
Having
dude,
said that,
really?
if Spirit decides to cut itself off from the rest of consciousness and create a separate reality on its own, it can do
Separate
that
reality,
too.
yeah.
This is called the Lucifer experiment.
Starring Horny Godzilla.
But if there's a
Because
separate
Spirit
reality,
is
it's not
God,
our
it can do
reality. What the
this.
fuck,
There's
dude?
nothing wrong with
God
that.
is
We've kind of
spirit,
been led to
spirit
believe
is
that
God.
Lucifer is
Hey.
evil and
God
the
is
devil.
spirit,
This just isn't
spirit
true.
is
Lucifer
God.
is just another means of perceiving the reality. It is not a unity
What?
perception of oneness, but rather a duality perception of two-ness.
Two-ness.
There's a flower of life
Two-ness.
pattern for Lucifer as well, but that's a big topic for another time.
Two-ness.
Anytime the Lucifer experiment has been attempted in the universe, it always ends in failure. The species will cut
How do you
itself
know,
off
man?
from love and will become incredibly male,
Well,
left
what if
brain.
this, like,
What
universe
always
is
ends up
because of a
happening is that
Lucifer
everyone
experiment
becomes very
and,
greedy.
like, because
There's
it's
no
another
compassion
reality
for
and
one another, and everyone
this
ends up
one.
fighting until
Yeah,
they end
yeah.
up killing themselves.
Oh, the drama. Yes, all those Martians committing suicide. I think he meant killing each other, not themselves. Whoa, if they all kill themselves and
So
they're all dead.
all men are greedy and compassionless and violent. Well, that's just awful and wrong.
Hey, baby, I'll show you
And
some
you're a
compassion.
bad person.
Oh, man, that ain't cool.
More than 1 million years ago, the beings on Mars joined the Lucifer experiment, and it failed dramatically.
Like a
Basically,
nightclub or
they
something?
cut themselves off from the unity of the universe and created a separate reality. When the Martians severed the
So
love
then we're in
bond,
their
they became
reality
pure
then.
male, logical beings with no
Martians
If they
emotion.
came here, then
What
we had to be in their
severed
reality. What the fuck,
bond.
dude?
Mars became a battleground.
Oh, love bond, baby. Yeah,
Eventually,
yeah.
it became clear that Mars was not going to survive. They blew their atmosphere away and destroyed the surface of the planet. Nova recently did an episode on planetary magnetics, and they found some interesting things about Mars. The planet didn't have a magnetic system, however the surface was magnetized, implying that at one point it did, but that something happened. Now,
Dude, do
we've
you
been
know what
discussing
you're talking about?
Can we get some science in here?
I'm gonna get you a little something else.
See you bitches, I'm out of here.
Alright.
I'll come back later.
Man. Well. Yeah, she'll be okay now. Hey, babe, how you doing?
star tetrahedron before, and now I want to give you a brief understanding of the Merkabah. The Merkabah was known in ancient times as the Chariot of Ascension. It is the star tetrahedral energy field around the body. All around the world, there are references to this in ancient texts.
Drama llama ding dong. Hey, I've got a question for you. What can you tell me about the Merkabah?
The Merkabah, the chariot of God, is in Elijah?
Yeah.
It's supposed to have like wheels with wings on them and all kinds of weird stuff. The way it's described, if I remember, it makes it sound like it's a whole bunch of different critters that are carrying it around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're the seraphim actually that do it.
Okay.
The multi-winged ones are I believe that's the seraphim.
Well, are there any force fields in those sacred texts? Any at all?
When Moses was going, with the body of Israel across, and they were carrying the ark, there was a protective force that went with them, but that one is not like it.
Okay, thanks, boss. Sorry to interrupt.
When activated to its full potential, the Merkabah, which is both a tool and part of your being, can be used to do the impossible, included but not limited to changing dimensions and traveling through the universe. Before Mars was destroyed,
Can spirit science change dimensions, like, permanently?
Yeah, dude, like, let them stay there.
Built huge tetrahedral pyramids. They built 3, 4, and 5-sided pyramids, eventually built a complex that was
Pyramids
able
have
to
4
build
sides,
a
man.
synthetic Merkabah.
It's like definitional,
After a
man.
million years or so, it's been eroded, but the proof is there.
I need more.
Now,
Well, I see a penis and a pair of tits.
because the Martians were severed from the Unity consciousness, they couldn't create a living Merkabah. They simply used it as a tool. They created a synthetic Merkabah to travel in time and find a new home. A small group of Martians tried to get away from Mars before it was destroyed, and that place they found was Earth. About 65,000 years in our past. They saw this little vortex sitting there, just pulling in life, with no one in it. They didn't ask permission. Being part of the Lucifer experiment, they just said, all right, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Martian ambassador is going to say a few words. Come on down, Mr. Ambassador. Whoa.
That's a Martian?
And they stepped onto that vortex, and in doing so, they joined and changed our evolutionary path.
They blew up Congress!
Asshole was one of the Nakals who set up Atlantis on the island of Udal. That island, on top of the Tree of Life, was the brain of Atlantis, and on it was a small city called Poseidon. This city is what Plato was discussing when he said that Poseidon had 10 children.
Poseidon is the brother of both Zeus and Hades, and the father of Percy Jackson.
The 10 circles on the Tree of Life. Poseidon was made of 3
wasn't
rings
like
painted
mythology,
black,
what?
red, and white stones, and it was the symbol for Atlantis.
You have disrespected the gods for the last time!
The inner circle represented the Nakals. The middle circle were the priesthood, called the Maya, and the outer circle represented the regular people of Atlantis. We'll come back to this down the road. There were only a few thousand Martians who came to Earth through the synthetic Merkabah. The first thing they did when they arrived in Atlantis was try to take over the continent. They tried to declare war and invade. However, they were vulnerable due to their small numbers, compared to the millions of Atlanteans.
Millions, man, right?
We were able to stop them from conquering us, but we could not send them back.
Because they were
when this
stupid,
happened
man.
on our evolutionary path, we now had the planetary consciousness of a 14-year-old girl.
Fuck.
The Martians were an incredibly male.
We're gonna go with the girl thing again.
Yeah, man.
Right. Yeah. So, men are evil and teenage girls are sweet and nice and compassionate.
Yeah, right.
When was the last time you talked to a 14-year-old girl? Huh?
Why are you such a mega brat? Because I can be.
Species, and also very old. So what you had was a 14-year-old girl being taken over by a 60 or 70-year-old man.
Creeping
He had
fucker.
no They didn't care what we thought or felt about it. Really, it was no different from what the settlers of North America did to the Native Americans. Once the initial conflict was over, it was agreed that the Martians would try and understand this female thing they lacked. This emotional feeling, which they had none of at all. Things more or less settled for a while, but the Martians slowly began to implement their left-brain technologies, which the Atlanteans knew nothing about. One after the other, the Martians kept putting out these left-brain inventions until the Atlanteans slowly began to see things through their left brain. We slowly began to become a male species.
It's
The
not
Martians
a
gained control,
tumor.
bit by bit, until eventually they had all of the power. as was their intention. The animosity between Atlanteans and the Martians never subsided, not even till the end of Atlantis. They hated each other. The Atlanteans were shoved down and treated like inferiors. It was like a marriage that the female component didn't like, but the male component didn't really care if she liked it or not. It remained this way for a very long time.
And that's why we have divorce.
Years ago, when the next
Dude,
phase
this guy's
slowly
gotta come
began.
from a broken home or some
Before
shit.
we continue, we have to talk about polar shifts. See, in the 1930s, Edgar Cayce was
With his 8th grade education,
channeling information for a geologist when he stopped and he said, "There's something you should know. In the near future, the Earth's poles are going to shift." Cayce was
No, dude, that's not what he meant.
Connection to higher
That's not what he
dimensions.
said
He
either.
communicated with other beings.
Misquote.
Edgar Cayce made some extraordinary and spectacular Earth change predictions. Probably the biggest one was that the rotational axis of the Earth would change.
Ultimately, it was because of his channelings that the belief system called New Age was created. This is again just putting what he was doing into boxes of understanding, because no one else understood what he was doing at that time.
Oh, because nobody wanted to label us dumb fuck.
People listened.
Fun fact. Edgar Cayce predicted that the world would end, apocalypse, return of Jesus and everything, in October of 1999.
Geologists began exploring the possibility of a polar shift, and they found something remarkable. A string of major pieces of evidence came forth and lent tremendous weight to what Cayce was saying.
Whoa, what
and
evidence?
Now changed the world's view on the subject.
Really?
Scientists.
Polar shifts.
Yeah, man.
Like north became south and south became north, or east, or west, or
It's just magnetic north. Yeah, it's just magnetic, chick. It's okay. It's only magnetic north, nothing else. No, like, axial change or anything. Yeah. It's all good.
Believed that if there was going to be a physical pole shift,
Whoa, physical?
magnetic poles. Through studying
Dude,
lava
you're
beds,
fucked up.
geologists were able to see where the planetary magnetics were when the lava beds hardened at certain depths. They found that the earlier magnetic poles were not where they were now, but in Hawaii.
This dude's
In Hawaii?
13,000 years ago, and we will get there in the story soon. They did another test and found that it
The way
had
the Earth
shifted again
spins doesn't change,
26,000 years
man.
ago as well.
No,
Scientists
dude, it was
also-
like 73 million, man.
In a single day, the magnetics would do a complete flip.
In a
or
single
90
day.
Degrees. Was that
That's wrong.
And within 24 hours, the sun would be rising differently than it did the previous day.
Whoa.
This shift has happened hundreds of times over the last
What?
100 million years on Earth, but it's speeding up.
Can we get some science in here?
No shit.
It seemed that prior to 780,000 years ago, Hawaiian lava must have cooled within a global magnetic field that was running to the south and away from the north, exactly the reverse of today. The bizarre implication was that at some point, the entire global magnetic field had done a sudden 180-degree flip, completely reversing direction.
Now, and happening faster and faster. Now only 13,000 years between each shift. A whole new viewpoint is beginning to be understood. From space, would this not appear as a pulse?
Dude, I'm not high enough
Now,
for this
there's
shit.
a lot more to talk about with polar shifts, but I'm going to give you
Oh,
the
please
basics.
don't.
And as they examined samples from older and older lava, scientists found more and more reversals. On average, one every 200,000 years. Is the 300-year decline in our field, which the pottery reveals, the work of magnetic anomalies brewing deep in the core beneath our feet? If so, then a reversal really could be in the cards.
A scientist named Charles Hapgood was studying this at great detail because the leading theory behind what caused polar shifts was still underdeveloped at the time. He came up with a theory that demonstrated to be possible through various experiments. Through these experiments, they learned that the surface of the Earth, the crust, could slip over the main mass of the Earth.
Dude, no they didn't. What the fuck you talking about?
The crust
That
would
is so
rotate
wrong,
and spin
man.
out of control
You
until
are
eventually
fucked
it
up.
settles again in a new
Yeah.
location aligned with the new magnetics. During this time, there are massive earthquakes and tsunamis and devastations that rock the world. Doesn't
Dude,
it
that
cover
is so
the
not right.
destruction described in the Book of Revelations?
You read that book,
I don't want to freak
motherfucker?
anyone out. Besides Edgar Cayce's account, many other ancient prophecies, including Nostradamus and Mayan prophecies, have talked about polar shifts in one way or
Oh,
another.
bullshit, man.
And
Name
modern science
one.
is becoming increasingly aware that there is going to be a polar shift
No.
in our near future, which is lining up with our consciousness shift, though they don't take that aspect into account.
What?
It's funny, actually.
Because
a while
it's
back, NASA
bullshit.
did 2 reports
Damn,
on
Skippy.
polar shifts, and both times NASA shut them down.
You mean the Noah special we just used clips from?
Then recently, Nova released a
Right,
new video called
NASA
Earth's Magnetic Storm.
conspiracy.
That video shows all of the evidence
That video's
for
still
pole
on mine,
shifts
man.
without actually using the words pole shift. It's almost as if a specific company doesn't want us knowing about this and
Company?
the evidence that's
NASA's
been brought
not a
forth.
company,
Polar shifts are
dumbass.
directly related
Yeah,
to
no
the
shit.
magnetics of the planet as well. Planetary magnetics are supposed to look like this, but the reality is much different. Our magnetics have been weakening over the last
Hey,
500
focus on
years
me,
or so,
man.
and today they look a little more like
Your
this.
magnetics have
It was
been
the magnetics
weakening.
becoming more and more warped that's causing many of the problems we've seen in the last 20 years. Birds follow the magnetics of
Yeah,
the
he's
planet to
pretty
migrate,
fucked up,
and
man.
they've been ending up in places they shouldn't be. Whales were continually beaching themselves in the 90s because they followed these magnetics, which led them to land where there should have been water. As for humans, you know how on the night of the full moon there are more rapes, murders, and violent crimes than any other night of the lunar cycle?
Except
What?
that there's
moon affects
not.
the magnetics
Yeah,
of the
no
Earth,
shit.
slightly. But the magnetics are so warped right now, it's affecting how we think and act as a planet. Our collapse of social
It's your
structure is
bullshit
related
affect
to the
the way people
geomagnetics of
think,
the
yeah.
Earth. Or perhaps it's the other way around. There's one other thing that we need to discuss about polar shifts. They always line up with a consciousness shift. They are
Says who?
interrelated. Filth lived on Atlantis for a very long time, and he
Oh,
told
not
us
this
that he
shit
saw the
again.
Earth shift 5 times, watching
Your
the
buddy
sun rise in
Filth
the east,
again,
and then the
huh?
west,
Yeah.
then the east, then the west. This is how
What?
to explain why during a consciousness shift at the end of Lemuria, it sank beneath the oceans and Atlantis rose. If the crust was spinning randomly around the
It doesn't,
planet, many
dude. You're so
geological events, such as
wrong.
continents rising and falling, would take.
Hey, guys, this dumbass says that the crust is spinning randomly.
Yeah, man, cue up that Nova special.
Hey, no more clips. That's it. We're already at the edge of our budget for this episode.
Ow, 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 ow. I guess that's what I get for escaping in a special effect.
Now that we have an
Oh!
understanding of polar shifts, we can continue with this drama on Atlantis.
Oh, the drama.
26,000
Oh,
years
no.
ago, we were exactly where we were today on the precession of the equinox. We had gone through our falling asleep phase, and we were about to begin.
Because he was
waking up.
alive
It
then.
was at this point that there was a small consciousness shift. We actually went down in consciousness.
That be
not up.
unconscious or
A
Dude, you're
planet
down in
Atlantis, about the
consciousness
size
now.
of Rhode Island, sank into the ocean. This caused a tremendous amount of fear within the Atlanteans, because they thought they were going to lose the whole continent, like what happened with Lemuria. Because of the
Continents don't
consciousness
sink,
shift,
Dude, you're
one of
so
the bigger
fucked.
things they lost was their connection to the future. They couldn't foresee big events such as the potential sinking of
But
their
they
home.
didn't foresee this
After
shit
about
coming,
200
man?
years,
What the
spirit
fuck?
began to
That would have been like before it
Now, in
happened.
both the Bible and the Sumerian
Dude,
records,
you're so
the accounts
dumb.
of Adam, Eve, and all of their children were recorded to have
Oh, yeah, 'cause
exceptionally
that's a
long
fucking-
lifespans of 900 years or so. So 200 years for
Are
us
you
back
fucking
then,
shitting me?
20 years for us today. We'll explain how we
Right.
got there soon.
Dude, you pulled that out of your
Things
ass.
kind of settled for a while, and then between
just know
13,000
everything,
and 16,000
don't
years
you,
ago,
yeah,
dumbass?
a comet approached the Earth. Because we were living at a high consciousness across all dimensions, the Atlanteans
What?
became aware of it before it hit. A great conflict occurred in Atlantis. The Martians, who were in the minority, even though they were in control, wanted to blow it out of the sky with their laser technology.
Good idea.
Lasers? What
The
fucking
Nepals
lasers?
learned of the comet's true
Wait, lasers?
nature, and the Atlanteans protested. They said that the comet was in divine order. They had to allow it to take place naturally. Let it
Yeah,
hit
for
the Earth.
genocide's
That's
sake.
what's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
The
genocide, man.
Martians fought the Atlanteans, but in the end they
I've
gave
seen
in.
this shit.
The Martians agreed to let it hit the Earth. When the time arrived, it came screaming
In
into
high
the
elves.
atmosphere, plunging into the Atlantic Ocean just off to the western
Holy
shores
crap, you know what kind of
Atlantis.
damage that impact would do?
Although the main portion struck near Charleston, a few
Oh,
fragments actually hit the main body of Atlantis, crashing into an area right where the Martians were living, killing a huge
Which
portion
would
of
have
the
killed
population.
everybody.
Yeah, never
They
happened.
were pissed. They
What do you mean
said,
pissed?
"It's
Then he's
all
fucking
over.
dead,
We're
jackass."
divorcing you, and we're gonna do whatever we want.
So now it's the Martians who want a divorce, even though they're the abusive assholes.
Well, yeah, man. You motherfuckers tried to commit genocide
Don't
against
let him
them.
poison your brain. Stop listening.
I might be getting into this a little too much.
Yeah, babe, chill out.
You can do what you want, but we will never listen to you again. We know this whole bit. We've seen it in divorced families.
Declaring
throughout the
negligent
world.
homicide to be in divine
And the
order.
children?
In what family?
Look at our modern world today. We are the children.
You're a
You
fucked
can
up
guess
little
what the
dude.
Martians did next. Their primary interface with the reality was control, and when their anger rose to meet their desire
Anger,
for
man, I
control,
thought they had no
they
emotion.
decided to take over the Earth. They began to once again create a complex like the one they built on Mars long ago to try and create another synthetic Merkabah. If they had succeeded, they would have gained control over everything on the
Oh,
planet.
bullshit,
The only
man.
thing was, around 50,000 Earth years had passed since they had built a Merkabah, and they didn't quite remember how to do it. But they thought they did. The Martians
Wow, they
built
were
a
shit
building in
record
Atlantis.
keepers.
They
I think
set
I'd
up
write that
a whole
down.
experiment, threw the switch, and lost control. The destruction was immense. In this reality, you can hardly make a greater error than to create an out-of-control Merkabah. The
What?
experiment
This week
began
on
to
Imaginary
explode
Things
into
Gone
natural
Wild.
levels. Not the higher ones, but the
And
lower
thus
one.
we
To give you an
have
analogy, if you took a knife
spirit
and cut
science.
open your
I
stomach,
need some more,
the
man.
stomach acids would seep into other parts of the body that it's not supposed to be in. That's like ripping open the dimensions. The Martians almost destroyed the Earth. The environmental disaster we are experiencing today is nothing in comparison. Though today's disasters are a direct result of these events.
Man, it'd be great if there was some evidence of this.
Dimensional levels, a
Not
huge number of lower
pollution
dimensional spirits
or
and beings were thrown out of their comfort
climate
zone and into these
change.
higher levels. They
Martians.
were forced into a world
Oh,
that they
dude,
did
it's
not
like
know
space
or
sperm.
understand. To survive, they needed bodies and began automatically entering into the bodies of people.
They've
For
been
every
just
human
done.
body, there were hundreds of lower dimensional
Aye,
spirits
man.
inhabiting them. These
Oh,
beings
good
were
idea,
just
man.
like us.
Body thing.
What is
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
A Scientologist?
Oh, either
was
that or
a
like
catastrophe.
orange jizz
Probably the
recipient.
biggest the Earth has ever
Maybe he's a
seen.
fluffer, man.
The reason
Doc,
the Nepals were special
save
wasn't just because
us!
of their incredibly high consciousness, making them like guides of Atlantis. They also had achieved what today we call immortality.
There can be only one.
Let's just say they
What?
figured out a way to keep their body healthy and young for as long as they chose, and could choose to pass on whenever they desired it. When reincarnating, they
The
do not suffer
fuck?
the great memory loss that we do when we incarnate. They
Eh.
did it through their expanded consciousness
You're
and tantric interdimensional
reincarnated?
sex meditations.
From
This is how
what?
Thoth was a priest king of Atlantis for
A
thousands
slug?
of years and stayed on Earth until 15 years
Yeah, I'd
ago
like to
when he
slug
gave all
him.
of his memories and understanding about sacred geometry to a man
What?
named Drunvalo Melchizedek.
Yeah, right. That guy's a
The Merkabah is
nutcase.
formed out of 3-star tetrahedrons overlaid on top of each other. 2 of them are
Whoa,
counter-rotating.
dude,
and the
read
third
those
is
ancient
stationary.
texts. It ain't
When
nothing like
Merkabah
that,
is formed with
motherfucker.
unity consciousness, it is formed internally with love. When it is formed externally through the Lucifer
Go love
experiment,
yourself.
it does not have that love and can become unstable very quickly. The Martians attempt at
It's
controlling the
fucking
world took
unstable
place
here,
on
man.
one of the small islands in the west of Atlantis. This place today is known as the Bermuda Triangle.
What?
It's a triangle because the top of the stationary tetrahedron of the Merkabah is actually sticking out of the water there. which
Sticking
causes
out of the
a huge
water?
electromagnetic imbalance in that area.
Fuck.
Many planes and boats have reported to have gone missing there. They just vanished without a trace. The imbalance is multidimensional, and in many cases, these ships and planes have been sucked into different dimensions, never to
What?
be seen again. That Merkabah is still there on the seafloor today.
Dude,
From what I
sea
know,
floor,
it's
but
going
it's
to be
poking out?
corrected soon.
Dude, what the
The
fuck?
Nepals did their best to save
Corrected
Atlantis. They sent
soon
most
how?
of the lower dimensional beings back, at least as many as they could, and sealed up the dimensional tear.
But
Just
Duck
like
it.
this,
Dude,
the
I am not
situation
high
got
enough for
really
this
bad
shit.
really fast. All of the economic systems collapsed. Financial, social, and all concepts of how life ought to be completely broke down. Everyone on
So
Atlantis
Trump was
began getting sick
elected,
with weird diseases,
and-
and the entire continent went into a state of
That'd be a real
survival.
disaster.
Life was no
Unlike this
longer about
bullshit.
living. It became about surviving until tomorrow.
What's wrong with
It
Trump,
was
man? He's just a
literal
rat in a
hell
human
on
suit.
Earth. The Nicals had no idea what to do. They were children compared to the events that had been thrust upon them. So, they prayed. They prayed to the highest levels of conscious life in the
that
universe,
worked.
asking for help from anyone who could hear them. The problem was
Whoa,
that
dude, they
many
prayed to the
had no
Justice
life.
League.
Hey, look, it's
Drawing the
Batman.
Justice League
Yeah.
because the 11th and 12th dimensions are completely incomprehensible to us in our current state. What they told us was this: we were going to fall.
So
we were
we
going
can
to hit rock
understand
bottom.
things, which are
Level
said
1,
by people
the
that are
lowest place we
incomprehensible to
possibly
us.
could be in the universe
What?
to survive.
And that makes you
Also,
blue.
we were changing polarity. We were no longer a female species, so we were starting from square one as a male species. And finally,
So,
and
like,
this
you
was the
level up to
shocker,
female?
we would only have 13,000
what?
years to return to Christ consciousness. Normally, it takes hundreds of
To
thousands
what?
of years for a species to get
Christ
to Christ
consciousness?
Yeah,
We
that's
had
what he
to do
said.
it
What
in
the
a
fuck?
fraction of the time.
I don't think
If we
Christ
didn't,
has
we would
anything
not
to do
survive.
with this.
This has never happened before in the universe.
Oh,
ever.
he'll shoehorn that crap in,
Thoth,
too.
who was the priest king of Atlantis at the time, learned that they would have to perform this experiment on themselves. They received instructions from the highest levels of life, and they went on their way. Thoth proceeded with a being named Ra and Aragat, who were previous kings
Aragat,
of
that ain't
Atlantis, and
Egyptian.
began the experiment. To understand what they did, we have to talk about consciousness grids.
So we have Christ
What grids?
and
Planetary grid is
Egyptian
an infinite
gods.
crystalline structure that envelops the planet
And
holds the consciousness
Atlantis.
of any one species of life.
And
Well, this
grid
shit's
is
trippy. I want to
aliens.
hear it. Come on.
associated with the third dimension, but it also has a component for
The fuck's he talking about? I missed it.
I don't know what this guy's on, but I want some. Let's get this shit over with.
every dimension as well. These grids are geometric, of course, and science will eventually discover that there is a grid for every species in the world. Each of these grids have their own geometry and are unique. There's not another one like it, just as the species itself are unique.
Sure.
These grids give off light as well, and from space they can be seen as the source of the bluish
Grids
glow around the
give
Earth.
off light.
Oh,
What
shit,
friends had
dude.
to do was
Blue
create
glow.
a
We could
synthetic
explain
Christ
that
consciousness
shit.
grid, allowing humans to ascend to the Christ consciousness in a very
consciousness.
short time. But first, let's talk about the science behind the grid.
Okay, I'm cutting it. I'm not putting up with any more of this shit. Yeah, that's Rayleigh scattering that causes that. It's what happens when light hits the atmosphere. It hits the oxygen molecules and goes, woo, and spreads out. We know how this works, dumb fuck. It's not a consciousness grid, idiot.
Perhaps you've heard
Science
of
my
the
ass,
100
man.
monkey
Science.
experiment. Over a span of 30 years, scientists were researching a species of monkey called Macaca fuscata on an island in Japan.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, the 100 monkey thing? Yeah, that's been debunked. That guy, Lyle Watson, the researcher in charge of it, made up the whole thing about it going from island to island. Pro tip, they were only dropping the potatoes on one island, fuckhead. For fuck's sake.
They
What,
were trying to
spirals?
take
What the
control of the
fuck?
grid, because if you control consciousness, you control what we think and feel. Of
What?
course, there was another
Seriously?
organization that had its hand in both of these governments, and still do, and we will discuss that.
Oh, dude, it's the soccer conspiracy, man.
13,000 years ago,
Because he's
That's
an
FIFA. They
expert.
control everything, you know, man.
Were to create a global complex that was able to build a synthetic Christ consciousness grid over a 13,000-year time period.
A word of caution. What you're about to hear is some of the most incomprehensible word salads that you'll ever fucking hear in your goddamn lives. Yeah. Oh, and, yeah, after this shit, I'm gonna put up an intermission slide. That's where part 1 ends. Part 2 will be up, well, when it's fucking done. I gotta give the guys a break before they lose their fucking minds completely. Have a good one.
The first thing they did was to fly to a place which is now called the Giza Plateau, but
Dude,
back
they could
then it
fly.
was known as the land of Shem. It was also a rainforest back then as well, not desert like it is
Bless
today.
you.
First,
Hey,
they
Flap,
created a grid
hey.
around the planet, fourth
I
dimension,
get it.
and then
Dude, that
began
was
to
pretty
construct
cool.
it in the physical, third dimension. They went to the male energetic axis of the Earth and constructed a complex
male
which today
axis?
is called the Solar Cross. These men were six-dimensional beings at
Oh,
that
dude,
time
there's a
and were living
male
at a very
axis?
high level of consciousness, so whatever they thought happened instantly. It
I'm
was
gonna
that
go
simple.
to female axis and
Right.
fuck that shit.
Oath,
Oh,
he
shit,
built the Great
dog.
Pyramid, not the Egyptian king Cheops.
Yeah, you tell him. Yeah, you tell him. Billy Goat, tell him. Yeah, you get that fat dog out of here, man.
With both
Yeah,
Fibonacci
yeah.
and golden mean spirals emanating out of the solar cross.
There he goes. Whoa,
Strangely
shit.
enough, Edgar Casey
Oh,
also
that
found
was
that
close.
the
You
pyramids
guys
were
some
constructed
help?
in this time. The pyramids
Like,
were also found to be built from the
psychiatric
top down.
help?
Oh,
The
you mean
stones on top
Casey?
were
Yeah,
placed
yeah.
first, which
He's
has
a
baffled
fucker.
researchers ever since. Every time more is learned about the pyramids, we
No.
move further into dark on understanding how they were formed.
Now, what you missed because this idiot wouldn't stop talking? He said the Earth is inside of a big freaking
Oh, dude.
crystal eggshell made out of consciousness.
Why are you sitting around out there? You smoke 'em, got 'em. Get a drink. Take a crap. Whatever you need to do, man. Pause this shit. Kirsten's not staying long.
Well, you're still there. I'm a little bit surprised. Well, we do have 2 more parts that we're planning on doing, but it's a lot of time and effort trying to get this shit done. So, I'm going to gauge how much effort and whether we're going to complete the other parts based upon how many views we get. So, like, share, subscribe, do your thing. And, yeah, we'll catch you next time for this clusterfuck of stupidity.